Hello, eRank. Welcome to another Thursday Live Q&A with me, Pam Duffy, and her, that side, Starla Moore. This is your Thursday place for all Etsy and eRank related chat. Hey, Starla.
Hey, am I backwards today, guys? Do I appear on screen backwards from how I normally appear? Let me know. Pam says I'm backwards, and I didn't do anything different this week, so I'm curious.
You do
Happy
to me,
Thursday.
but I have noticed that sometimes when I watch the playback and I'm pointing at you on that side, for me, that's right. And then I watch the playback and I'm pointing totally the wrong way. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you are backwards.
Oh, and I wore my cool shirt or my cool hoodie that Printify sent me for the last webinar that I did with them.
Oh.
I was gonna like rep their brand for them, and now it's all backwards. Not that you guys can't read backwards, but
Exactly. What we have a smart enough guys, they can figure out how to read backwards.
it's a new skill. All right, guys. So for those who are new here, let us know in the chat if you're new, by the way. But for those who are new here, what we do is we answer questions from the chat from you guys. I see that we had one in there already from before we started, but we have a post on Wednesdays in the eRank group pinned to the very tippy top of the group wall, where we get questions a little bit early. If you guys want to submit questions early, or if you're watching the replay and you're unable to make it to these live streams live and you still want your questions answered, make sure that you join the eRank group on Facebook. Look for the pinned post in the group announcements every Wednesday from Pam, and you can put your questions in and cut the line. So it looks like we've got 5 questions from our Wednesday post, and then we will get some questions from the chat. So awesome. It looks like we've got a couple of people who are brand new here. Fun.
Oh, awesome. Welcome aboard. Yeah.
All right.
And that's it. Get your questions in and we'll cycle back to them once we've done the early bird questions.
Yes.
Is early bird an American term or is that
We say it.
That's okay, yeah. I'm never sure. I say all these things and then think, am I just making words up that you lot have never heard of?
Over on Facebook, Anna said Mark is on the wrong side. They pay attention to you back there.
Do they?
Yeah, they know you're back there. You can't hide from them. They see
Absolutely.
you. All
It
right.
could be the camera, or you might just be pranking them all and you've totally rearranged your basement like the other way around just to be funny.
This shirt is printed like this.
Absolutely. Yep.
I bought it like this. All right. So first question from our Wednesday post is from Anne Marie. I happened to come across set up a Google tag and put it on every web page. What's this? It looks like I may have put it up on an old web page as it lists the old business name and not the current one. That was in 2014. How can I know if I now have it set up on my current shop that I had for the past 7 years? I simply do not remember it. It mentions about Google Analytics 4 property. Is there some place to look and see if I already have this set up? Okay, so let's start with a quick Google Analytics lesson. Google Analytics was a fantastic resource in order to see stats that you cannot see on Etsy and cannot see on eRank unless you have Google Analytics connected. Things like which keywords are bringing people into your store and the countries where you're getting traffic from. There's all kinds of really cool information that you can get from Google Analytics. However, right now, the only version of Google Analytics that will integrate with Etsy is called Universal Analytics. And as of right now, you cannot create new Universal Analytics properties. That ability has been taken away because Google Analytics wants us all to upgrade to Google Analytics 4, which is all good and well, especially since Universal Analytics is officially going away on July 1st. However, Etsy has not integrated with Google Analytics 4. They only accept Universal Analytics, which as of right now, you can't even sign up for new analytics properties for. And if you had signed up, before they took this ability away, you will start losing all of that valuable data as of July 1st. So unfortunately, there's no way to answer your question because you cannot right now do what it is that you need to do in order to connect to Google Analytics. So what we are recommending all sellers do, and Pam created a video about it, or a YouTube short, You guys need to start pressuring Etsy. Do it politely, but let them know in their professional spaces. The best places to do this are LinkedIn. You know, that's not a place where they are selling to customers. That is a place where they're very focused on sellers. Their Twitter is a great place to reach out to them because that's public. You know, if enough people start talking about this on Twitter, those tweets are public and Etsy is going to see them. Be polite, but ask them to please prioritize pushing integration with Google Analytics 4 so that we do not lose this valuable data, because until they fix it, we can't create new properties. And as of July 1st, we will stop getting that data, and the traffic stats tool on eRank will no longer work, which that's a really, really great tool because Google Analytics is super confusing, and eRank takes all of the best stuff from Google Analytics and spits it out right on your eRank dashboard for you, so you don't have to sift through the confusing world of Google Analytics to figure everything out.
Yeah, we did have some people say in the Facebook group that when they contacted Etsy support have said they're working on it, which is hopefully means they're working on it and it wasn't just a shush go away type answer. So hopefully they are working on it and they're going to screech this in at the last minute just before the deadline, which is obviously going to be terrifying the eRank technical people who'll be sitting here going like, right, we've got to get this all integrated super quickly again. So fingers crossed. I will say, wherever you're seeing that it's saying you've got to put it into every page, that is going to be advice for web pages. It's not Etsy specific advice. A lot of the SEO and all the clever sorts of stuff that you have to do on a web page, Etsy does for us. And with the Google Analytics, you just had in your settings, there was a place where you could put the property. You don't have to put it on every page. And they will be doing the same thing again because we don't have access to all the code in all your pages. So it will be a one hit, put in a code into this place and Etsy will do everything for you. So I know a lot of people are quite rightly looking into how to improve their Google SEO and everything. But a lot of that is specific for websites. So don't freak out if you see something that you can't do on Etsy. Etsy does other things for us.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Kim had asked, I sell PDF patterns that are currently listed under the patterns and blueprints category. I'm starting to work on tutorial videos for all of my patterns, which means each pattern could be classified as a tutorial as well as patterns and blueprints. Is it okay to do 2 listings of the same pattern using both categories? Is it okay? Yeah, I'm assuming that that would probably be okay. Is it beneficial in any way? Are you trying to get found in both of these categories? I really don't think that it's going to benefit you that much just for the sake of being able to apply those listings into 2 different categories.
Yeah,
That's the only
categories
reason.
don't seem like such a big deal. But there's nothing wrong with having 2 of the sort of same listing if you're like A/B testing different things, and you could make the whole listing show like be more of a tutorial, your keywords and everything say it's a tutorial. That wouldn't be bad. But yeah, I don't think any of us need to worry hugely about categories at the minute in time.
Yeah.
Just do your best.
I mean, if you wanted to test it with like a listing just to see before you go and duplicate every listing in your shop, that would be fine. But I mean, to be perfectly honest, to me, a pattern kind of is a tutorial.
Yeah,
So
good point.
I would say that tutorials would, I think that that would be a decent, a decent place to put them. But you can always experiment. Just it's not necessary if you don't want to do that. Okay. Anna said, hi, I've been thinking about putting some of my own hand-drawn art on a printful collection, but I keep seeing people complain about receiving Etsy items that say made in China. I'm assuming POD items say this. Will this disappoint buyers? My potential market for shipping true handmade items myself from tiny Ireland would be limited. So both Printful and Printify are all going to have different products to print on, and the tags are just going to be based on whatever it is that you're printing on. If you're doing mugs, a lot of those are going to be made in China. But here's the thing: what your customers are purchasing at that point is they are not expecting, if you are an artist and you are drawing things, I'm sure that they are not expecting that you are also making the mug that the artwork is printed on. Just the same as somebody who buys a crochet blanket probably didn't also assume that you made the yarn that it was crocheted with. I think that as long as you are stating maybe somewhere in your listing that, I print my artwork via a trusted, high quality third party to ensure that my artwork is displayed on the best possible products, I think that would be fine. Printful in particular, you can get 3 sample orders per month. And I believe that you can get 20% off on those sample orders. Order some samples and see what they look like. That'll give you an opportunity to have some good products to photograph yourself, so you don't just have to use mock-ups. But then you can kind of, snoop them out and see what you're getting. Printful themselves print all of their products. Printify is made up of lots of little companies that each have their own printing locations. They all have, their own procedures for printing. And you're going to get a lot more variation there because it's a lot of little companies. So just no matter what POD company you choose to use, I would recommend ordering those samples so you know what you're sending to your customers, because a lot of them, they come shipped kind of weird. And it's just good to know.
Yeah, it's a good idea to order and make sure you're happy with what you're sending out to customers. I will say, I know where this question is likely to have come from, because I have seen on a couple of Facebook groups, 1 or 2 people have said, I ordered a mug and it came with a made on China sticker.
Mhm.
Firstly, that's 1 or 2 people. That there is it's something like 80 million buyers on Etsy. So 1 or 2, and right, a secret just between us, those people are idiots. All right, there's 1 or 2 idiots. There's always going to be. Um, so yes, a very small number of people, especially just now, because it is a little bit in the media that people are going, oh, there's stuff that's not handmade on Etsy. That's just because it's front of mind with people, and then someone will open the mug and go, it was printed in China. But most of us know, like Starla says, if someone's printing off beautiful artwork on t-shirts or whatever, they are not making the t-shirts from scratch. We know this. There's just a very small amount of people, and they'll post it up in the forums, and somebody will point out to them that they're being an idiot, basically. So yeah,
Those,
don't worry about it.
and those aren't really, I wouldn't even consider those to be your target audience anyway. The buttheads who want you to also make the mug or stitch together the shirt that your art is printed on. I mean, that is a very unrealistic expectation to have to begin with.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't consider those your target customers. Oh, big jump. Um, all right. Kim had asked, Etsy at one time had shop updates that were sent to followers. I can't seem to locate it now. It was in the marketing tab, I believe. Is there a way to send updates to people that follow / like my store? We still have them.
It's only in the old app. I
Yeah.
checked. It's not in the new app yet, and I don't think you could ever do it from the desktop. So
No, it's only on
if
the app.
it's something you love, contact Etsy and tell them they need to put it into the new app, because I checked and it's not there yet. But in the orange app, it is in the marketing tab under social media. I just checked. I didn't bring my phone upstairs because it always rings when when I'm online, but Starla's finding it.
Oh, I was doing something
Oh no.
completely unrelated. No, so shop updates on the old app are under social media. So you want to go to your marketing tab, you want to go into social media, and then it's going to be all the way to the
Way
very
down.
bottom. Yep.
It's a pain. It sounded like such a good thing, and then they hid it away so hard that most people don't use it.
Well, and they also don't splash that. It's not that they send shop updates to your followers. Those shop updates used to be splashed on your Etsy home screen or your Etsy like for you screen when you log in, especially on the app. But really now they're only visible when someone visits your storefront. So I almost consider them on like their own little Instagram feed where you can show, pretty pictures of your products. Don't just like repost your thumbnail. Your thumbnail is going to show up right next to it. It's silly. Use it as an opportunity to show your customers a new view of your products or your products in use or you creating your products. It's just an additional way to customize your shop a little bit more now. But Etsy didn't really invest a whole lot of time into shop updates to begin with. So
yeah, it's a shame, but they are. Now that we know that shoppers are looking for handmade stuff, it's a really cool idea to show nice pictures of you creating your item so that people can see that you created it.
yes, especially when we've got so many people who don't create the things that they sell on Etsy.
Yes.
All right. Abigail said, let's see. I do understand that Google and Etsy will have different reporting about visits and users, but I don't understand how it could be so vastly different. I have Google Analytics on my Etsy shop and my website, but it is showing that I have even fewer visitors last month on Etsy than I had in sales. Do you have any advice on how to get this corrected to show sales through Google Analytics? I'm not seeing the sales through there to the Etsy shop. Yes, I'm using the old analytics and have had it set up for a long time, but I didn't really look at it.
Yeah, well, this is probably quite part of the reason why we added the traffic stats to eRank. Google Analytics is really complicated. It's awesome, but it's complicated. I never found a way to see the sales data for your Etsy shop. That's something you can do for your websites and stuff, but I was never able to find the sales data. A number of views not matching up could be any number of reasons. Yeah, quite possibly you're just looking at a wrong time period or in the wrong place, because it is complicated. Literally every time I open it, I have to watch a tutorial.
She said visitors.
Mhm.
Wouldn't that imply that if her visitors are lower than her number of sales, maybe those people did not actually visit your shop? They found you in search, added the product to their cart, and checked out, but then did not actually visit your shop, because views and visits are going to be two different things. Views are when somebody looks at one of your listings, and visits are when people, when somebody looks at your shop. So it could make sense. There could be a logical explanation as to why you have more sales than what you have visits. If somebody just found your item in search, immediately added it to their cart, and then checked out.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it could be you're on a page that's showing you different information than what you think it is. Yeah, it could be anything like that. You might be looking at people who've come direct into your shop. You might be just looking at the people who've seen you in search. There's so many reports on Google Analytics.
Yeah.
It's tough.
All right. So now we are done with our early bird questions. We're going to go ahead and move on to questions from the chat, which we have quite a few. Diane, I don't know if you're still here. You had actually submitted your question before we went live, but she had said, I'm considering the basic eRank plan as a beginner, and I want to know, does it have everything I need to start my Etsy shop? I dare say yes. Beginner plans are perfect for brand new users. In fact, that's the plan that I would recommend if you're just starting out. If you want to skip straight to a paid plan and not experiment with the free plan.
Yeah, she's saying she's considering the basic plan. Yeah, that's a good first one. I would probably start with a free plan just when you're setting up, so you get to know your way around things. Sorry, Anthony, we should be upselling and everything, but no, he doesn't want us forcing people into buying things. The basic thing is, on the free plan, you can do most of what you can do on the paid subscriptions. So it's a good idea to get into that. And then when you're finding you want to do your research and everything a bit quicker, you want to be able to gather more data, you're running out of quotas, then that's the time to sort of upgrade. But to say, does it have everything I need to start my Etsy shop? Yes, but check out our tutorials and everything. I hope it's basic to everybody here, but eRank isn't going to run your shop for you. It's here to help you run your shop. So we still all need to put in a lot of work ourselves, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, there's things that eRank just isn't going to be able to do for you. We're not going to do your product photography for you. We're not going to, well, I was going to say we're not going to write your descriptions for you, but the AI tool that we're working on, it might be able to do those things. But
Well, it helps. Yeah,
yeah, it helps.
yeah. Don't rely on the AI for everything. I
Yeah,
suppose that's a good time to mention the AI again,
yeah, yeah.
guys. Yeah, if you haven't noticed, in what in fact we do have a video up on this YouTube channel to check out, but we are beta testing our AI tool that you can put some keywords into, and it'll help you give you some ideas for titles, keywords, and descriptions. And we're looking for feedback on the tool. But both myself and Starla have been saying this lots. Don't just rely on it. It's not using any SEO data. It's not using any of eRank's data or anything. None of these tools, to my knowledge, are just now. So you use it in conjunction with the other tools. But it's a great help when you're sitting looking at a blank page for a listing and like, how do I describe this? What are some ideas to get me started? It's good for that. And yeah, check out the video and then click on the little button on the bottom right hand side of eRank to request beta access.
Awesome. Hey, Pam, offhand, I just posted the link to that AI video on the
Mhm.
eRank channel, but I'm not actually seeing it pop up in the chat, and I want to make sure that my admin functions are not
I'm seeing it on
shown
Facebook from here. I'm seeing it. Is everyone
on
else seeing it?
on
On
YouTube.
YouTube. Ah. Um,
I'm not
no, I
sure.
don't see it on YouTube. I might be able to do it from here. Right, hold on. Or maybe not. Uh,
Very
I
odd.
can't.
Very odd. Okay. Well, let me know if you guys can see my comments. There should be a little wrench icon beside them. I don't know why it wouldn't be working. Okay, moving on. Let's see. I'm starting an Etsy for print on demand. Or an Etsy print on demand for saturated book niche shirts for the start. My designs are very different, and I think they'll stand out. I'm working on a bold branding, like colorful pattern backgrounds for the thumbnails. That is very different than the other stores in the niche. Do you think it's a good idea to have things very different? Okay, so everything can be experimented with. However, there's a reason that everybody has kind of simple backgrounds on Etsy, and it's because that's kind of what Etsy prefers. Um, there are multiple reasons why you see sellers using these neutral backgrounds. For one, it makes your products less confusing. If you're creating, you know, products that have designs on them, but then you have a crazy designed pattern background, my eyes are going to be drawn to the background and not to the product. And that's not what you want. You want your product to be the pop of color, to be the thing with the most design. You want your background to be subtle and quiet in the background. Otherwise, people are going to focus on the background. I know what you're saying is you want to draw eyes and make your listing stand out, but you don't want to make your listing stand out in a bad way. And not only that, but Etsy is experimenting with visual search. In fact, they mentioned it in their Q1 report about working more with visual search, which basically means that your customers are going to be able to search more utilizing photos that they already have or photos of products that they're interested in. Now, I don't know how that's going to apply to shirts. Especially if you are in, you said you're in the bookish niche. But I will say that Etsy's algorithm is leaning more towards visual search functions. And the more that we add crazy things into our background, the harder it's going to be for this algorithm to identify what it is that you're actually selling. So my advice is to experiment with a couple listings, but be prepared to pivot if you don't see the results that you want, because Sometimes I see shops that do a good job with the crazy backgrounds. Sometimes I see shops that it's an eyesore to see those crazy backgrounds. And none of the top Etsy sellers, if you go into the top sellers report on eRank, none of those top sellers have crazy backgrounds. I look at them quite frequently, and every once in a while you'll see somebody who has a very professionally styled background and they're using a professional product photographer to get those shots. But most of the time they are neutral backgrounds, because that tends to be what customers are more attracted to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I get the wanting to draw the eye in a sea of results, but drawing the eye is generally just by being slightly different, a slight little pop of color or something. And I think if you're saying your designs on your t-shirt are very different and the designs themselves are stand out, like Starla says, if then the background's mad as well, then everything gets lost. So sometimes you can do crazy designs and then have quieter backgrounds, but absolutely experiment. That was totally one thing I was thinking as Starla was reading it, though, with this, how Etsy's going to do the image search. It sounds so exciting. They mentioned in the report yesterday, and one example that they did give us, which was, now this is very early days, but they were showing like someone saying they wanted to search for some kind of rug, and the AI search was saying, here's a few rugs, which one do you reckon? And they go, oh, one a bit more like that. So then you're about to narrow it down. So if you're very, very different, then it won't be able to offer you, because people are saying, oh, I like things that are a bit like that. So it wants things that it can group together into sort of niches within niches. The other kind of thing I'm thinking, are book readers zany? Um, that's, I'm sure that there are, but is it the niche that people want to stand up and scream and shout and everything, or is it a little more sort of elegant and tame? I'm not
Yeah.
entirely sure.
What kind? It's really going to depend on what bookish niche you are diving into, and also make sure that you're licensing. I'm an author, and I own rights to my book, and I own rights to my characters, and you have to license with me if you want to create anything with my characters. However, there are authors that license quite easily. One of the most popular authors right now is Sarah J. Maas. She wrote um, Court of Thorns and Roses, Crescent City, Throne of Glass. And licensing with her is very easy, but you have to do so legally. Otherwise, her estate will come after you. So you need to make sure that you're not, even if you say, well, it's just subtle, or I'm not using any images from the books, or if you can recognize it as being from a book and the book is not in the public domain, it can get you in trouble. So just make sure that you are actually obtaining the licenses. You're not going to be able to get licensing for things like Harry Potter, unfortunately, but there are some very popular series like Sarah J. Maas series that you can legally license with. And I recommend, if you are going to license specifically with Sarah Maas, you need to do that as soon as possible, because Hulu just bought the rights to Court of Thorns and Roses, and they're going to be working on a Hulu series. And I do believe that once Hulu starts pushing their own merch, it's probably going to be very difficult to license. And I don't think that she's going to be as flexible with her licensing. I'm assuming that anybody who has a license before then will likely be grandfathered in. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, make sure that you do that as soon as possible. But back to the point, bookish people, unless you are, standing out to, you know, a niche or a set of books that are colorful and crazy, I can, as an author, I consider myself in that bookish niche. And I'm also a book influencer, and I have a very popular vampire romance podcast. I've never seen any businesses that do, I've never seen any businesses attempt to do well with crazy colors and bold designs. And prove me wrong. Feel free to prove me wrong and do something really, really innovative. But also look at some of the bigger brands that do what you're wanting to do, like the Bookish Box, like LitJoy Crate. And look at the way that they brand their products and their photos and their social media. And I think that, you know, you kind of have to fall into the cadence of how people are doing things, but then add your own twist to it. Because ultimately, I don't think of loud, crazy colors when I sit down to read. I want a candle. I want like a beige blanket, and I want, you know, a nice, cozy, quiet place beside a fireplace to read some tea.
Absolutely. I tried to stand out with some of my bookmark pictures, and to stand out, I was just leaning into the dark academia thing, leaning into an old library with wood and browns and everything. So yeah, that's what people are thinking about.
Yeah. All right. Amazon Stallions. Is there a tool on eRank that can evaluate listings and extract keywords plus sales data from it just by using the listing ID or the link?
Yep. Mhm. The, listing audit tool, you can put in other people's listing IDs into that, I think. Hang on, I just have to check something, but I think we've just updated something here. I'm not sure, right? I'm just checking something while I'm talking. I might be wrong. But anyway, you can go into the listing audit tool and then put in anybody's listing, and you'll be able to see more details about them. Yeah, it's not what I thought, but anyway, I can possibly share a screen. Sorry,
Like,
this takes.
we need some like. Doo, 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 doo.
Oh,
Oh,
hang
we got
on, I've got more options for showing things. Hang on, does that work? No, that's terrible. They've given me more options to be able to show screens, right? I've got to hide that. So the listing audit tool. Now you can, if you have put the, what do we call it? The analyzer tool, which is in tools, and it's the last thing. I can't remember what we call it just now, but in the listing audit tool, if you can see at the top of this, the URL has the listing ID there. So for any listing on Etsy, you can put the listing ID in. Oh no, I'm totally missing that. Or yes, I'm right. I just didn't see it. Or you can put the listing ID into the listing audit tool, or the URL of the listing, and you would just added this. I just saw this on the site updates. So here you go. So you can add in any listing ID, and this audits anybody's listing. So that's going to give you some ideas of the titles, tags, the number of visits. I believe we've put in the number of sales data now. Yeah, conversion rate. Also, well, estimated conversion if it's not your listing, but conversion for other people's listings. So it's the listing audit tool. So yeah.
awesome. All right. Carolyn asked, looking into selling digital files, hopefully in a second shop based on the Canva updates, are we still allowed to do this with Canva, like schedules, journals, and planners? So schedules, journals, and planners will fall into templates because those are not completed products. A completed product would be a piece of digital printable artwork or an ebook. A template is something that they have to fill out, like an invitation, schedule, journal, planner, checklist. Those require the user to fill it out in order to complete it. You can only sell templates via a template link. So you cannot create that template, export it as a PDF, and sell the PDF. What you have to, and it's always been like this. This isn't an update. It's just Canva clarifying the rules. You can only sell it as a shareable Canva link. And there's tons of videos out there. If you Google or, get on YouTube and search how to sell a Canva link, you can learn how to get the correct link to do that. But then when they open that link, it will ultimately open into Canva. And even if you are using pro elements in your link, if you have a pro Canva membership, and your template utilizes pro elements and a customer purchases it, but they don't have a pro account, it's almost like the pro designs that you use, to my understanding, are kind of like grandfathered into that design, because they have obtained it as a template, and they should still be able to utilize it even if it has pro elements in it.
Oh, cool. I didn't think it did that. That's good to
Yeah,
know.
yeah, because they really don't want you to sell incompleted Canva products. Because I think that the main issue is that there's a risk of that person then taking the product that you have created and then finishing it and then reselling it. And then there not being any way to basically pass over licensing from Canva to that product. So that's why.
Cool.
All right. Jocelyn, what is SEO and how do I use it? SEO stands for search engine optimization. And unfortunately, it is such a base level question that I think that your best bet, rather than us trying to explain it all here, would be to go to our eRank channel. You can just click on the eRank logo under this video and start watching videos. In fact, I dare say that we have a video about what is SEO.
I've probably, hopefully put it on. Yeah, I've just put it up on YouTube. I can't get it onto Facebook just now. But I've just put up the what is SEO video, but we have a whole range of SEO videos, finding keywords, how to build your Etsy listings, how to do titles, tags, descriptions, all of that good stuff. So yeah, give that a look. But as Starla says, it's a massive question. The basics, it's search engine optimization, and it's the things that you do to explain to Etsy that your listing is what you think it is, what you want them to think it is pretty much it.
Yeah. I like to describe SEO as the little road signs that lead people to your listings. You are sprinkling little road signs and little clues throughout your listing to help people be able to find what it is that you're selling. Because without those signs, your listings will exist somewhere on Etsy, but they won't be shown to people who are shopping for those items. So these are kind of the roads that are going to lead people to your listings.
Exactly. It's like the superpower for us little guys, where you don't have a big following somewhere else. So it's the chance to be seen for the people who are already on Etsy searching for things but haven't heard of you. But it's true. It's a massive subject.
Yeah. Do you guys think Etsy will switch to the Google Analytics by July, or just let it end?
I hope they do. But everybody needs to contact Etsy. We said earlier, if you like the Google Analytics, and we should, as Anthony pointed out the other day, which I hadn't even thought of, but it's independent analytics. If for some reason you didn't trust what Etsy's telling you, then it's a backup. Bear in mind that analytics from two different sources will always be slightly different on websites. That's how you don't want to look at Google Analytics and try and make it match up exactly. It's not going to do that, but it gives you some ideas. So if you like that, and we all should, hopefully it's great data, drop Etsy a message somewhere and say, please, can you sort this out? As I said earlier, somebody did get contact from Etsy to say they're working on it. I hope that's the case, and I hope they're working very fast. We don't have long.
Yeah, we don't. I saw that comment as well. We've had one person say that they have gotten a hold of Etsy, and Etsy has said that they are working on it, but it's the only time that I've heard anything from anyone about it. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Oh,
I'm a
just pulling this in. I don't know who this is from, but yay. For everyone who's got the beta access to the AI tool on eRank, don't forget to give us feedback. That's your payment for us giving you free beta access to this.
Yes, Yes, that is, you must pay us in feedback.
Yeah.
All right. I'm a professional illustrator and designer as my career in my Etsy store. I'm concerned about the influx of AI art users on the Etsy platform. Has there been an indication that Etsy will restrict AI art? It's been talked about, but there's a big struggle that comes with this. In order to restrict AI art, there will have to be an algorithm that is smart enough to identify what has been generated by AI and what hasn't. And who's to say that the abstract artist who paints things by hand, but who creates things a little bit more abstract, who's to say that the algorithm doesn't say, that's AI, that needs to be removed? There's no algorithm that can do what you're asking. It's not possible. What we need to do is not ask Etsy for this. Instead, we need to stress an overall regulation on where AI art gets sourced from. Because as of right now, there are plenty of AI tools out there, but most of the AI tools that we see online are taking art from artists without their permission and basically, using the whole internet as their database, which is not ethical. What we need to start doing is really pushing when we start to see, legal discussions taking place. And I have a fantastic video that I would love to share, but for some reason I can't share any links in the chat right now. But there is a YouTuber called Legal Eagle, and he did a video about the legalities of AI art and why it's going to be such a battle in order to do any type of enforcement on AI art. So ultimately, what we need to start doing is putting pressure on AI art platforms to make sure that they are only sourcing the content that they are providing through voluntary means. So basically, people who have said, I've created art, I don't mind if my art gets used for this AI generator. Is there going to be a restriction? I don't see it happening anytime soon. There's just no way that an algorithm would be able to do this. So the only other option would be human eyes. Human eyes are also subject to say, well, this kind of looks like AI. Well, we'll just ban this person. This looks like AI to me, and they ban you. And in reality, you spent like 40 hours painting this masterpiece, but the person on the other side of the screen says, well, this kind of looks like AI, so ban this. I'm always big on, pointing out when there are problems, but we also have to be able to propose solutions when we point out a problem. And if a solution doesn't exist yet, we can't expect Etsy to invent that solution for us. Right now, AI art is new, which means that there are no systems in place that have evolved as fast as AI art has that are also, able to regulate AI art. It just hasn't been invented due to the speed at which AI art, happened. Now, that doesn't mean that you're down and out, though. What your job now is to show the world that you have created your art by hand. Make sure that your about section is filled out with images of you painting. Make sure that, or doing your art, whatever your art is. Make sure that it is very clear that you are not an AI artist, that you are a professional, that you are doing everything by hand. And there will always be demand, more demand, I dare say, for art that is created by humans.
Yeah. I get your worry, but someone famous enough said from today art is dead after he saw the first photograph. He thought art wouldn't be able to be a thing because photography was so good, and art didn't stop being a thing. When oil paints came out and people weren't doing frescoes, they thought this was terrible. It was far too easy. It was making a mockery of art. Acrylic painters hate watercolor painters. This has been in the history of everything. I don't think we need to be concerned. Firstly, to get good AIR is blooming difficult. It's actually not just a case of going, make me a painting what looks good. I've seen the people who are making really beautiful stuff are putting in a lot of work. So as Starla says, sort of stay in your lane and make really cool stuff and show that you're making it. The other thing, I haven't looked much into this, so I don't know if things have changed, but with the legality of it, there was a case where people who are basically AI generated work is not being able to be copyrighted. So
Yes.
it's not this cool thing that you can put all this time and work into it, and then everyone else can rip it off of you and just put it on their mugs and stuff. So you're actually more protected being an artist. So I don't know how that's going to pan out over time, but usually the precedence is whatever the judge has said the first time, the next judges just copy it. So they said, no, that's not copyrightable.
Oh,
Bless you.
thank you. I might do it again here in a second. They always come in twos. All right. Next is it Karen or Kareen? When would you recommend using Keyword Explorer versus the keyword tool? To be perfectly honest, I don't use the Keyword Explorer. So Pam, you should probably answer this one.
Same. I don't use we're having conversations about what's going to happen with the Keyword Explorer, but the Keyword Explorer would be roughly, if you're looking to research other marketplaces that we've got data on there, it's good to look for that. And to be perfectly honest, probably when you've run out of your quota for using the keyword tool, you get a few extra searches on the Keyword Explorer. But at the minute in time, okay, let us know, guys. Do you use the Keyword Explorer, and what do you use it for? It used to be my favorite tool, and I've not used it in donkeys now.
Well, it started out, it's like everything that used to be that we love about the keyword tool used to be in the Keyword Explorer. I think that really we just need to move over those last few little features into the keyword tool that the Keyword Explorer has. And we're talking about it. We likely, the Keyword Explorer will likely be going away because essentially the keyword tool has more, and there are only a couple little extra benefits that the Keyword Explorer gives you. I think that the only reason that they're separate right now with the marketplaces, the other marketplaces being separate, is because I believe that it would slow down the keyword tool. But we always have people on our team who are working on making our tools faster. So we'll either maybe find a way to isolate that particular tool or bring it into the Keyword Explorer. But short answer is you don't need to use it. We don't.
I'm sure some people love it, but it's a sort of historic thing, isn't it? We had the keyword tool to start with, and then Anthony managed to source the keyword data, the search volume, and so made the Keyword Explorer as a separate tool to say, here's where you go to actually find out about keywords, what people are searching for, and then realized, hey, let's just take them and put them into the keyword tool, actually. And so the keyword tool ended up being the better tool. But so who knows what the future holds?
All right. Mabel the Woodle. Woodle.
That's so cool.
I'm very new to eRank. Forgive me if this is a bad question. There is no such thing. When I click on my active listings, are these popping up in any particular order, like rank? I think it's based on when they were listed by, isn't it? When they were.
Yeah, it's on any of the where you see a load of listings on eRank for other shops in your shop should be based on the most recent listing. So that's created or sold and relisted or relisted.
Yes. Yes. So anything that has expired and automatically relisted, or sold, if it recently sold, it'll pop back up to the top. Or if you've listed new items in your shop, those will all be towards the top. You know what, we have 10 minutes left, and that was the last of the what actually no, that's not true. We had one on Facebook. Okay. Is it Kirsty? Sorry, you posted your comment 24 minutes ago, and I just now noticed that you were over there. Can I ask if metadata on uploaded images helps at all with listings or not? No, because Etsy renames them.
Actually, they just changed this
Oh,
last year. Well, not they didn't change it. Right. This is yeah, I remember now. This is kind of controversial in that Etsy had a meeting with Google, and Google told them that it's seeing the metadata on the images, but Etsy didn't think that it should be. Nobody thinks that it should be, but Google saying yes, we're looking at that. But it's not desperately important to do. There's far more important things to do. The only reason I would be, and for anyone who doesn't know, the metadata is basically what you save your image, what you call it. If it's image 6274 or if it's picture of a cute dog. Sometimes that data on some websites, that data stays stuck and Google can read it and go, oh, that's what that's all about. So I wouldn't go out of my way changing all the names of my images, but for many of us, our kind of workflow, it might be a bit easier if when you're saving your picture, you describe what it is rather than just keeping that string of numbers, because it makes it easier to find. And there are a couple of websites that are I might be having a tiny look at Folksy just now, and they do say that they definitely look at that. So, but yeah, don't. If it makes a difference, it makes a tiny difference. Etsy didn't even know that it was a thing.
Yeah, I'm currently going through the metadata on a listing page. And it's just showing the same gobbledygook that if you right click a listing photo and save it, that's where you can see that it's been renamed.
Yeah.
And in the metadata, it's just showing that same gobbledygook that it always does, where it's just a string of random. I don't even think you can save listing files anymore. Because they try to save as AVIF files as opposed to JPEGs like they used to, where you could just steal photos. Etsy's trying to make it a little bit harder for people to steal photos now. But they always start with IL underscore and then a big string of numbers and letters, and it's still doing that. And that's still what I'm seeing on the.
Well, that's the people at Etsy told me they were surprised when Google said that. So I wouldn't I wouldn't change your workflow or go back and change your images to do that. But if it makes sense in your workflow, I keep meaning to do it because it does make it easier for me to find my pictures in my files.
Yeah. If it's for your own organization, like on your computer, and you want to make sure that everything is organized, and if you see any weird results from it, or if you feel like you're seeing some results from it, like definitely let us know. Everything is worth looking at. But I dare say that Google, of all places, probably pulls some pretty crazy data from every website that, the average person looking at metadata isn't going to be able to detect. So there might be a little bit more to this than even Etsy's aware of.
That's true. Oh, there's also the alt text on photos that you can add. I mean, that would be considered metadata as well. So when you're uploading a photo on Etsy, you have the option, there's a little pen tool. You can add the alt text, which is basically Etsy have said, and it is for describing it to visually impaired people. And this does help with the SEO a titchy tiny amount. But it's well worth doing because it helps people who can't necessarily see the images so well. So that's kind of worth it.
Yeah. All right. Last question. And this would be a good time to screen share and show them the AI tool. Lisa asked how to get access to it for beta testers.
Yep. I did link the video a little while ago. Right. I've got to move all these about again. I wish there was an easy way to do this. Right. So the AI tool. Oh, I've got to find. Hang on. I've got to find the link first. So, right. But to get access, you want to click the little button at the bottom right-hand corner of Etsy, of eRank. I had a link to the AI tool somewhere.
I would tell you what I know what the URL is, but I don't know if I tell you if that will allow them to use it or them to see it.
It shouldn't. Oh,
it's tool erank.com/tool-tool. You know what the tool.
Yeah. Tool dash to. Oh goodness sake, Anthony. Yeah.
You know what the tool is. You have to fill in the blanks there. Blank dash blank.
No. Starla, can you just send me the link? I'm trying to find it just now. This is us being super professional just now. Or Starla, you can share your screen as well. I've got it.
I actually can't. I don't even have the button, nor do I have the chat today.
Oh wow! So things are really
I've had
not
to do
working.
the chat. Yeah, I've had to do the chat completely, like looking at YouTube and looking at Facebook because everything's blank.
Oh right, that is crazy. Anyway, I just realized we didn't actually have to hide the name of this, because if anyone puts it in and they're not in the beta, they won't get to use it anyway. So
there we go.
So here is, and you can see the URL anyway, but you need to request access for this with the little button down at the bottom right. Just message and say, I'd like to be a beta tester for this tool, and bear in mind that we need payment from you of you telling us what you think of this.
We can't
why
see
is that cutting off the edge there? Is that
there
better?
goes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, Starla, give us some ideas to put in here.
Let's do pink floral cat mug.
Thank you for mainly things I can spell. I just realized when I said that my spelling is terrible. So this is, as it says, AI to help enhance your Etsy listings. It's not going to write them for you, but it's something to help you a wee bit. So you put in, I would use the keyword tool to find some decent keywords for what you're thinking of making. And you can bring a few keywords over, put it into here, hit submit, and then, oh, there. I was going to say my internet's going super slow today. So that gives us, and for everyone who's beta testing, we have added some little things here you might spot. So it gives you some title ideas based on what we've told it. It comes up with some ideas for titles. So this is where I'm saying use the keyword tool first, because these aren't keyword optimized unless you have given it keywords. It's just, it's a large language model. It's just going, this is what we've looked on the internet, and people who make titles make them look a bit like this, basically. But it's really kind of helpful. And pretty in pink floral cat mug. Perfect gift for cat lovers. So it's given you some ideas. And we now have the ability, you can copy the title. So if you liked it, you can copy it and paste it wherever you want. I wouldn't necessarily, well, you can go straight to your listing, but play around with it and edit it. And then we have 3 options of description ideas where you can look into. I love how it just totally adds. So this, you totally have to check it. It's saying with a capacity of 11 ounces. So it just makes assumptions on what it thinks your mug's going to be. So you have to check. It doesn't know how big your mug is. It's just saying mugs tend to be that size. So but it does come up with some really cool ideas sometimes, or nice ways of saying things. Just even like add some charm to your kitchen with our pink floral cat mug. De-stress after a long day. So yeah. And then you have some tag ideas. Bear in mind these are not yet keyword optimized. They are just based on what we've given it. It's coming up with some ideas. So you'd want to take these again to the keyword tool to see if they are actually any good. And you'd also want to use your brain to say, do I like any of these? Are these any, do they resemble my item in any way? But it's some ideas to help you out. And it's a super fun new tool to play with. And as we say, it's in beta. We got feedback saying people wanted to be able to copy the tags and the description and everything. So that's been added. So keep giving us ideas.
All right. Yay. All right, guys, it is 4:02 on the dot. If you have made it to the end, make sure that you join the eRank Facebook group. If you want to get your questions in early, you can actually post those every Wednesday up in the pinned post on the eRank group. In the, what are they called now? Not featured posts, pinned posts. Announcements. Pinned posts,
Announcements, yes.
Yes. Look for the post from Pam every Wednesday. You can put your questions in there. Cut the line, and we'll answer your questions early in case you can't make it to the live stream. But thanks so much for watching, guys, and we will be back next week.